As artificial intelligence reshapes Utah's workforce and economy, state leaders are working to ensure human skills remain at the center of the conversation. Today, we're joined by Alice Schwarze. She's head of research at the Office for Artificial Intelligence Policy at the Utah Department of Commerce. She's here to explore how research policy and human-centered design can prepare Utahns for the opportunities and challenges ahead. Alice, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, Alice, let's start here. When you look at Utah's fast-moving economic landscape, what grabs your attention first, and how does that initial signal guide your thinking around human-centric skills and how that fits into AI?
I think Utah is in a very exceptionally promising position. So Utah is ranking first for nationally projected tech employment growth between 2024 and 2034, with around 33%. So that's a huge number. We've been ranking 17 consecutive years as the state with the best economic outlook. And I think we're seeing some of the developments that have happened over those 17 years already on the ground. We're seeing the tech sector exploding. We're seeing a strong community behind the tech sector. We're seeing Salt Lake City and the surrounding areas growing. So all of that makes Utah a specifically promising location for new innovation. And I think that is why we're seeing our state government and specifically the governor take this opportunity to see, with AI shaking things up, how can that shakeup lead to the greatest benefit for the state?
You mentioned the governor. One of the things he's done is built everything around this idea of sort of human-first AI development, that it's always in benefit of humans. Which Utah programs or pilot efforts highlight strong momentum around AI that benefits humans or human skill development, and what design choices help those efforts gain traction? What are we doing now to build into that, lean into that momentum?
I think just taking advantage of that. So we have the governor's pro-human AI initiative with 6 pillars that are spread all over innovation, consumer protection, education. So we want to see AI that is both innovating the state, creating new jobs, making lives of people better, but at the same time being products that don't harm our citizens, that create opportunities for the new generation to find work. And so I think in terms of initiatives, we've been seeing a lot of action already before the pro-human AI initiative was announced. We have the Governor's Office for Economic Opportunity that is trying to cash in very hard on the AI boom at the moment. There's the Nucleus Institute, which Jefferson Moss, who's the head of the GOYO office, has brought together, that is supposed to bring together people from all walks of life to work on AI. So we have people from the government, people from academic research, we have people from industry come together and see how can the next great thing in AI be something that happens in Utah. And so I think that that's a really exciting opportunity. We're also investing a lot in Talent Ready to make sure that the benefits of what AI is going to change in terms of the economy and the workforce is going to translate to jobs that the citizens of Utah are going to be prepared to perform.
It feels to me in some respects like we went through this cycle with social media where we adopted it really quickly and thought that it could change a lot of things, and it did, but maybe not the things we thought. And now we're looking back on social media and saying, oh, we should have had better guardrails in place. And it feels like we're trying to take that lesson learned and put it into application with AI, where we're trying to anticipate what the problems can be and how can we shape this from the outset rather than look back with any more regret than we absolutely have to. So when research enters the policymaking process, how do teams get feedback and map out next steps to carry those insights forward into real implementation? How do we get that feedback cycle quickly so we can make things better as we're sort of building this car as we're driving it?
So we have several policy vehicles here at the Utah AI Policy Office. And first and foremost, I should say, I'm a transplant to Utah. I came here a year ago to accept this job, and I was very excited to be offered that opportunity because it was the state legislature asking for tech experts to influence what tech policy in the state should look like. And I think I'm just very appreciative of the fact that the legislature is looking for expert advice on how to get tech policy right in a way that is balanced, in a way that is safe, but also kind of not inhibiting businesses from innovating using AI. And so with that being said, our process is mostly that we're trying to engage stakeholders very early and as much as possible. So with stakeholders, I also mean like the people who are going to be using that product, the people who are developing that product, and everyone in between in that cycle as well. We're having these stakeholder conversations. I think what really helps us understand what the state needs is when people come with informed opinions, with balanced points of view, where we're usually seeing that AI is not all good and not all bad. There's usually with every product that we're considering, there are pros and cons with it, and having people who come from different perspectives, but who are able to have that conversation, maybe with other stakeholders who have differing views, and accept their points of view and try to find a compromise. That is, those are the encounters that we try to facilitate, that we're trying to learn from. And I'm happy to say that we've been incredibly successful with that in the state. Personally, having lived in many different places, I'm very overwhelmed with how much willingness there is to find these compromises between all sorts of stakeholders here, from government, consumer protection, business, and so on.
Yeah, it's that ability to cooperate and collaborate that really makes a difference here. As automation and AI reshape industries, I'm curious which human strengths hold the most strategic value for Utah's long-term competitiveness, and how could policy amplify those strengths?
So I think in terms of strength, we're seeing some trends that are not just specific to Utah, but in general, we're having that tasks that you can give a clear pipeline of how to do them are going to be tasks that increasingly are going to be automatable, performed by agents. And so what we have that is strictly in the human domain still is, I think, social and emotional intelligence. So we do see that you have bots that are emotionally engaging, but I think a lot of people still, even after high engagement with these bots, are able to tell human and AI engagement apart and value human engagement specifically. So if you're kind of in a position in a company where your job is to build rapport with other companies, with customers and so on, that I think, yes, there's many things about sales that can be automated, but building these relationships is something that's going to stay in the human domain for a long time. There's also going to be lots of new jobs of kind of forming around the fact that if we automate all of the information processes that we currently have in information work, or it's probably going to be all, but many of those, then there are going to be many jobs for people who are going to be the human in the loop when machines do these jobs. And that's why I see a lot of potential as well for people who are now in the workforce and are maybe afraid of losing their job to AI. I'm going to be honest and say that, yes, some people are going to lose their job to AI, but specifically the people who are able to bring the domain knowledge to who have done this job for the last 10 years and know when you need to pay the most attention and what kind of special cases there are that are not in any textbook. These people are going to be needed as the human in the loop to make sure that the machine can do the job correctly.
I want to look forward, and I want to give you the magic wand. And I'm going to wrap up on this. If you could rework one research or policy process to center on practical, everyday perspectives throughout the entire process, which process would you choose, and what new possibilities might that unfold for the state of Utah?
Right now, I think even though Utah is one of the most proactive states about reacting to workforce changes, we're still a state that is reacting to workforce changes. So we're looking at what's happening on the ground, and when we see the numbers changing, we're coming up with a response as it goes. I think if you're in those places, if you're one of the people who's affected, then you're already, long before you lose your job or long before reskilling is needed, you have an idea that that's going to happen. And so what I'd like to see is a process where we engage with companies and with employees much earlier than when the numbers indicate that we have to to find out what is needed to reskill the workforce in a way that is bringing sustainable skills that we're going to need in the future still.
However it shakes out, it's good to know that Utah's trying to think ahead of the game on this one and make sure we're heading in the right direction. Alice Schwarze, head of research at the Office of Artificial Intelligence Policy at the Utah Department of Commerce. Thanks so much for your insight and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.